I got fired after my cousin used my identity to open a credit card and racked up $19,000 at luxury malls. When I confronted her, she said, "You always wanted to look rich. I just helped you." Her parents called me selfish for reporting her, saying I ruined her future. Then I found out they'd been making monthly payments on the card and had known about it the whole time. I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. If you've never been here, it's the kind of place where everyone knows each other's business before you even get home. Family matters more than anything else. Blood over everything. Or at least, that's what they told me. Until it didn't mean a damn thing. My family wasn't rich. We weren't poor either. My parents worked hard to keep a roof over our heads. They taught me to stay out of trouble, live simple, save every penny you can. Haley, my cousin, was different. She always wanted more. Flashier, fancier, louder. Growing up, she had this way of making herself the center of attention. She would lie about vacations, fake gifts from boyfriends, anything to make herself look richer than the rest of us. I thought it was all talk. Until it wasn't. It started about a year ago with a white envelope from a bank I didn't recognize. "Congratulations on your new card," it said. I didn't even open the rest. Tossed it in the junk pile. Then, things started feeling off. Random calls from numbers I didn't know. A weird feeling every time I logged into my bank account, like someone was breathing down my neck. I brushed it off. Work was busy. Rent was due. Life was just life. Then I lost my job. Mr. Leonard, my boss, didn't even look me in the eye when he fired me. Sat me down, handed me a folder, and said, "We can't have someone with this kind of financial instability handling money." I flipped through the folder. Credit reports. Collection letters. Fraud flags. All under my name. It felt like someone shoved a knife into my gut. I didn't even make it to my car before I broke down. Sitting there in the parking lot, shaking so hard I couldn't get the keys in the ignition. I called the bank. Hours on hold. When I finally got through, the words didn't even feel real. "Yes, the account was opened with your name, your social, your address." But I tried to say, "I'm sorry, sir. You are legally responsible unless proven otherwise." I thought about who had access to my information. Who could have done this? Only one name came to mind. Haley. She used to stay with me for weeks at a time. "My parents are crazy," she'd say. "You're the only one who gets me." I believed her. Let her use my laptop. Left papers out. Gave her too much trust. She knew everything she needed to destroy me. I drove straight to her place. Banged on the door. She opened it, smiling. Wearing a Louis Vuitton hoodie, tight leggings, Air Jordans that looked brand new. "Hey, cuz," she chirped. I pushed past her. Slammed the door. "You stole my identity," I yelled, shoving the statement in her face. She looked at it. Then at me. And then she laughed. Laughed. "You always wanted to look rich," she said, shrugging. "I just helped you." I swear something inside me snapped. "You ruined my life," I said, voice shaking. "I lost my job because of you. I can't even apply for another one. My credit's ruined. I'm getting calls from collectors." She leaned against the wall, crossing her arms like she was bored. "It's not like I killed anybody," she said. I turned to Tyler, her idiot boyfriend, who was still glued to the Xbox. "Do you think this is funny too?" I snapped. He didn't even look up. Just said, "Bro, you're being dramatic." I left before I did something I couldn't take back. Filed a police report that same night. And that's when the real nightmare began. The next few weeks were hell. The police took my report, but everything moved slow. They said identity theft cases took time. They needed evidence, statements, paperwork. Meanwhile, the debt collectors didn't give a damn about my ongoing investigation. They called morning and night, leaving voicemails that made my chest tighten every time I heard them. My mom begged me to drop it. "She's family," she said. "We can work it out." But it wasn't just Haley anymore. It was my aunt and uncle too. They started calling me at all hours, screaming at me, telling me I was ruining Haley's future. That I was selfish. That I should have just let it go and handled it privately. "You're tearing this family apart," my aunt cried one night over the phone. "No," I said. "Haley did that the moment she decided to steal from me." They didn't want to hear it. Then I found out about the payments. The police investigator called me on a Thursday afternoon. I was lying on my mattress because I had to sell my bed frame just to afford rent when my phone buzzed. "Mr. Nichols," she said, "we've confirmed that the credit card has been receiving monthly payments from a separate account belonging to a Mr. and Mrs. Simmons." I sat up straight. That was Haley's parents. My heart pounded in my chest. "They knew," I said under my breath. "They knew," she confirmed. They weren't just defending Haley. They had been covering for her the whole time. They thought if they kept up the minimum payments, I'd never notice. Never file a report. Never drag their princess into legal trouble. They didn't care that I lost my job. They didn't care that I was drowning in debt. They only cared about saving Haley's image. It was like a fuse lit inside me that day. I wasn't going to just sit back and let them get away with it. If they wanted a war, I was going to bring them a goddamn war. First, I stopped being quiet. I posted everything online. Not just a vague post. I laid it all out. Screenshots of the credit card statements. Screenshots of the fraud report. Copies of the police case file. I tagged them. Every single one of them. "You want the world to know how perfect Haley is?" I wrote. "Here's the truth." It exploded overnight. Old friends. Church members. Coworkers. People we grew up with. They all saw it. They all knew. The Simmons family reputation, the one they guarded so hard, was destroyed in a matter of hours. I woke up to hundreds of messages. Some people supporting me. Others asking, "Is this real?" Some just sending shocked emojis. Haley's Instagram went dark by morning. But I wasn't finished. I hired a lawyer with money I didn't even have and sued Haley for damages. Sued her parents too, for being accessories to identity theft. The moment the lawsuit papers hit their mailbox, my phone blew up. Calls from numbers I didn't know. Threatening voicemails. Messages from relatives calling me a traitor and garbage. I didn't care. They threw the first punch. I was just hitting back. But the best part, the part that made every sleepless night worth it, came a few months later. I got a call from the investigator. "Good news," she said. "The DA's office is filing criminal charges. Not just against Haley. Against her parents too. Accessory to identity theft. Fraud. Conspiracy." I sat there, stunned. Hands gripping the phone. It wasn't just going to be a slap on the wrist. It was real. Felony charges. Court dates. Mugshots. They were facing real time. And I wasn't even close to done with them yet. The first court date came faster than I expected. I remember standing outside the Greenville County Courthouse, my palms sweating, my heart banging against my ribs. I almost didn't want to go in. Part of me still heard my mom's voice in the back of my mind. Family doesn't do this to each other. But they already had. When I stepped inside, I saw them. Haley, sitting at the defendant's table, looking like a kicked puppy. No designer bags. No fake eyelashes. Just a plain gray sweater, jeans, and a cheap pair of flats. Her parents were right behind her, stone-faced, like they couldn't believe this was happening to them. They didn't even look at me. Good. I sat in the back and listened as the charges were read. The prosecutor didn't hold back. Identity theft. Fraud. Accessory to a financial crime. Tampering with evidence. It was brutal. The best part? The DA had found proof that Haley's parents helped her open another account in someone else's name before, one of her old coworkers, but it hadn't gone as far. It was a pattern, and they had evidence. Their lawyer tried to spin it. Said Haley had mental health struggles. Said the parents were just trying to help their daughter through a rough time. The judge wasn't buying it. They scheduled a full trial. After the hearing, I stepped outside, needing air. That's when Haley came after me. She ran out of the courthouse, grabbing my arm. "You're ruining everything," she shrieked, her voice breaking. "They're going to put me in prison because of you." I yanked my arm away. "You ruined yourself," I said. "I'm just making sure you can't do it to anyone else." Her parents stormed over too. Her dad got right up in my face. "This is your fault," he hissed. "You could have handled this quietly. You didn't have to destroy us." I stared him down. "You destroyed yourselves when you chose to protect a criminal over your own family," I said. They looked at me like they wanted to kill me right there on the sidewalk. I walked away before they could say another word. The weeks that followed were pure chaos. Family members who used to be like second parents to me sent hate messages every day. "You'll regret this. You're heartless. You think you're better than everyone else." My mom barely spoke to me anymore. She just cried whenever we were on the phone, blaming me for breaking up the family. I started getting anonymous threats too. Notes taped to my door. Slash tires. Once, someone threw eggs at my apartment window at night. I installed cameras, filed police reports, stayed ready. They wanted to scare me into dropping the charges. It didn't work. If anything, it made me more determined. Every night I looked at my empty bank account, my ruined credit score, the job listings I wasn't qualified for anymore because of my wrecked background check, and I remembered exactly why I was doing this. They stole my life. I wasn't going to rest until they lost everything they tried so hard to protect. 3 months later, the trial started. It wasn't glamorous like you see on TV. It was long, boring at times, brutal at others. The DA laid out everything, how Haley used my social security number and old bills to apply for the card, how she racked up almost $19,000 at malls, fancy restaurants, jewelry stores, how her parents found out early and instead of turning her in, they helped her hide it. They even showed Instagram posts where Haley was showing off new purchases on the same days those charges were made. Her defense tried to paint her as a confused young woman, but the evidence was like a hammer. Every single time. Witnesses from stores, financial experts, even her ex-boyfriend Tyler turned against her when he got threatened with charges too. He testified that Haley bragged about scamming me because he's a nobody, he'll never fight back. Hearing those words ripped something open inside me. I wanted to jump out of my seat and scream, but I stayed still, watching, letting it all pile up. Day after day, piece by piece, their world cracked open. And then came the final twist. Halfway through the trial, my lawyer pulled me aside during a recess. His face was pale. "We got a tip," he said, "from Tyler. Turns out, Haley hadn't just used my identity. She had tried to open another card in my mother's name. But it didn't go through because my mom had frozen her credit after a different scam years ago. Haley had planned to take out even more debt in my family's name once she thought the heat died down. She never stopped. Not once. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a one-time thing. It was who she was. A liar. A thief. A snake. And her parents? They knew about that too. They just didn't think she'd get caught. The last few days of the trial were pure fire. The DA dropped the bomb about Haley trying to use my mom's name. They brought the new evidence in front of the jury. You could see it on the jurors' faces, the disgust, the betrayal. Haley sat there frozen, her hands trembling in her lap. Her parents looked like ghosts. Their lawyer tried to stall, tried to get a mistrial, begged the judge for mercy. It didn't work. When the closing arguments wrapped up, the jury barely took 2 hours to come back with the verdict. Guilty. On all counts. Haley was found guilty of identity theft, grand larceny, and fraud. Her parents were found guilty of being accessories to identity theft and conspiracy to commit fraud. The judge didn't show them any mercy either. Before sentencing, they let me speak. I stood up in that courtroom, the whole room silent, and looked right at Haley and her parents. I trusted you, I said. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. You didn't just steal my money. You stole my name. My future. You laughed when I lost everything. You tried to scare me into silence. And you would have done it again to someone else. Haley wouldn't meet my eyes. Her dad stared at the floor. Her mom wiped tears from her face. Good. Let them cry. I finished by saying, you thought being family meant you could get away with it. You thought I would stay quiet. You were wrong. I sat down. The judge sentenced Haley to 5 years in state prison. No parole for at least 3. Her parents? They each got 2 years in county jail and 5 years probation after that. Heavy fines too. They had to pay thousands in restitution. And part of that restitution came straight to me. Watching them get cuffed in the courtroom was like medicine to my soul. Haley cried and begged as they led her away. Her mom screamed at the judge. Her dad just kept saying, "This isn't happening. This isn't happening." But it was happening. I walked out of that courthouse with my head high for the first time in a year. It wasn't over yet, though. Because after the sentencing, the fallout hit harder than I even imagined. Their house? Foreclosed. Their family business? Collapsed. Their friends? Gone. Their precious community reputation? Destroyed beyond repair. Even the relatives who had sent me hate mail stopped defending them once everything came out in court. Some of them tried crawling back to me, pretending they had supported me all along. I didn't answer a single call. Haley's Instagram? Dead. No more fake rich life. No more rooftop brunches or shopping sprees. Just a ghost town. She was just another inmate now. Life didn't magically fix itself for me either. It took months to clean up my credit. It took even longer to find a new job. But I did it. I rebuilt my life one piece at a time. Every paycheck, every small win, felt sweeter because I fought for it. Because I earned it back with my own 2 hands. And then? They'll be wearing those choices for the rest of their lives. No one trusts them anymore. Not in Greenville. Not anywhere. Their name is mud. Their family's future? Shattered. All because they thought blood would keep me quiet. They thought wrong.